So we're recording the meeting. Thank you. Okay, I understand and appreciate everybody's patience. We were closed on Monday for the storm, so again, appreciate everybody's patience with this, and I do appreciate Keith. I know you're on duty right now, so we'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. So before we get started, I'll call the meeting to order. Let the minutes reflect that we do have a quorum. And prior to us taking on any business, I must read the governor's order. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order, imposing strict limitations on the number of people who may gather in one place. This meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Freetown website, freetownma.gov. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website or YouTube channel an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, so before we get started, we have several continuance requests. So I will call back to order agenda items. Number 4, continued notice of intent for 67 Chase Road. That is application for a solar installation. Item number 5, it's a continued notice of intent off of Chipaway Road, East Freetown, for another solar installation. Item number 6, continued notice of intent. Excuse me, I'll call back to order for 0 Simmons Street, again, solar. And item number 7 is a continued notice of intent for 2325 Gurney Road in East Freetown for, again, another solar installation. Those are all currently still in peer review. So they've all asked for a continuance. Our next meeting date would be September 13th. Everybody available for that meeting date?
Kevin, I believe I will be.
Okay.
The only thing is that next Monday I have to report for jury duty in federal district court, and it's kind
Oh gosh.
Yeah, lucky me. And the term will run for 3 weeks, but I know, I would know before the 13th if I wasn't available, but just so you're aware of that.
All right, I do appreciate that.
Hey, Kevin.
I do appreciate it. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you joining us. I know it's an off night for everybody, so I appreciate that. And that's going to allow Keith, if you need to knock off or anything, that's perfectly okay. All right, so I called those 4 public hearings back to order. They've asked for a continuance to the 13th. And so at this time, I will entertain a motion to continue all 4 of the aforementioned agenda items, again, number 4, 5, 6, and 7, to be continued to September 13th, 6 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion made and support. If there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Kevin Demaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, first thing on our agenda, back to the top, we have a request for determination of applicability. This is for a project on South Main Street, aka Route 79. The applicant would be the Town of Freetown, Charles Macumber, and Greenman Peterson, Inc. Scope of work is to reconstruct an existing sidewalk along the west side of South Main Street. Project has limits beginning at the intersection of South Main Street and High Street. They are working within portions of both the 100-foot buffer zone and the 200-foot riverfront area. I believe we have a representative of the engineering firm here tonight.
Yep, Jim Noyes from GPI, and I also have Sam Campbell, our environmental scientist.
All right, Jim, before we get started, and thank you. Those interested parties that may be tuned in, if you would look to follow along with what we're talking about, the paperwork and all, and plan sets. If you go to the Town of Freetown website, freetownma.gov, click on boards and committees, scroll down to Conservation Commission. On the left-hand side, you will see a box that says Current Conservation Commission Filings. Scroll all the way down to the bottom once that opens up, and you'll start to see the filings for tonight, and you can follow along that way. So I apologize, Jim, but go ahead.
No, yeah, basically the description that you you read is what we're doing. We're replacing the old sidewalk that runs along the west side of South Main Street, from High Street all the way up to Water Street. We're going to exclude the small portion that on the bridge over the Sonnet River. It's a concrete sidewalk, but we don't want to touch anything dealing with the bridge itself. And the sidewalk there is in good shape. But yeah, we're replacing it with all brand new granite curbing. We're going to have wheelchair ramps and road crossings at all the intersections. So at High Street, all the way running up to Water Street. We're also going to have a crossing right by the bandstand. We're adding a crossing in there. So it's all new granite curbing, asphalt for the sidewalks, cement concrete for the pedestrian ramps, and yeah, new signing along that corridor too. The only other thing that we're also doing too is right in the vicinity of the lane, and can't remember the cross street there, but the South Main Street, it's wider in that area. Generally, the South Main Street's about 28 feet, but it widens out there. So
yeah, that's Simpson Lane.
Excuse me?
I said that's Simpson Lane at the end. It's across the street from Simpson Lane.
Oh, okay, yep. So yeah, we're narrowing down the pavement there to 28 feet so that the pavement width throughout that area is going to be the same. So yeah, we'll push out the curb in there and add actually little loam and seed areas, a little less pavement in that area. Generally, the existing sidewalks anywhere from 4.5 to 5 feet. The new sidewalk will be consistent 5 feet all the way down. We have proposed set of control devices right by the bridge itself. There's a lot of work that's within the 200 and 100 foot buffer, but really it's all this is digging up the old sidewalk and putting in the new sidewalk. So erosion will be minimal in all those areas. We're hoping to start work in mid-September and have it finished by mid-November. Bids were open yesterday, a little bit higher than what we were hoping, but material costs this year are across the board. It's hard to get a good firm handle on some material costs. So it's a little bit higher, but we expect to award the bid in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so really the bulk of the project, I believe, would be outside of our purview for the most part. It's really that last plan sheet, number 7, I think, 7 and 8. But I guess and again, it's a good project for the town. We understand that. The work is already in a previously disturbed area. It's going to be cleaner, safer, better for everybody. I get that. I see you have filtration socks or silt socks, if you will, or straw wattles. You're proposing to have storm grates covers, storm catch basin covers, and
all the catch basins within the limit of work will be have the my mind goes blank too, silt sacks inserted.
Silt sacks,
So we called for 8 silt sacks so that they will all have them, even across the street where there's going to be minimal disruption.
Okay. I just have one other question. I've been looking at the plans, and this is just for personal. I see oftentimes on the plan it says HMA driveway, and I'm trying to figure out what the HMA stands for. I came up with homeowner maintained access. I don't know. You tell me.
Hot mix asphalt.
That's what I wasn't even in the ballpark. So, but it's hot mix asphalt.
Yeah,
it's not. Okay.
Yes, right. The latest and greatest name that MassDOT gives it. So we bid it based on other items.
Leave it to MassDOT. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Obviously, we're not dredge altering or filling anything to do with the wetlands. You are doing work within the buffer zone, but in this case, it's normal maintenance of or an improvement to an existing condition. So,
correct.
If nobody has any questions, Go ahead.
I was going to point out too in the RDA on attachment D, we included all the provisions that we gave to the contractor. It's about 3.5 pages of environmental.
Yeah, I was reading them. I read them and I was working my way through them. And I saw that, most of the detail, I see the silt sock and the filtration. I just wonder if we don't want to make sure that we have some extra on site. My only thought is, should we get some torrential rain event that we may be in a situation where we have to do a doubling of our efforts at the bottom of that hill before it goes into. So I just would think that maybe we can just make sure that there's some extra siltation control on site, so that should we have a rain event like we had the other day, that we have immediate provisions to make good on that.
Yeah, I think the contract, we actually got an extra, I want to say 25 or 30 feet in case we had to double up in some spots.
All right, well, I would just say this, we'll just condition it that they must have, enough on site to accommodate any kind of emergency. So if 25, 30 feet is good, then that's fine. It's relatively inexpensive. I'm sure they can figure that out. So, excuse me, does anybody else have any other questions?
I'm with Kevin.
Okay, if not, all right, then that being said, I would entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination that in fact the work is within a buffer zone to a resource area, but will not dredge, alter, or fill said resource area.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Motion's made and supported. There's no further discussion on a motion. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Sam. They were the easiest money you're going to earn tonight, buddy.
Yep. Look forward to nights like this.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Good luck with the project. As always, if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to us. I'm sure we'll be around the project quite often.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Next on our agenda, we have a request for determination of applicability. This is for a Stop and Shop facility, 136 South Main Street. The applicant's jrezendes, and the scope of work is to replace a retaining wall within a 100-foot buffer zone. Is Jim Rezendes with us?
Yeah, I'm on, Kevin.
All right, great, Jim. Thanks. Again, same deal. You can go on our website and you can find a set of plans there under Conservation Commission current filings. So if you would, Jim, if you'd like to make a little bit of presentation.
Sure. This is a Stop and Shop existing facility. It's across from their perishable building. It shows the wetland coming up to, it's about 20 feet off the existing wall. The wall has deteriorated and the top is leaning a little bit. So the way to solve the problem would be to put a new wall in front of this wall. It'll be 5 feet in front from the face of the wall to the old wall. The wall is about 15 feet high and about 200 feet long. We don't need to go into the wetland, but we are going to go right up against the flags that were there. When the place was built, we'll be in the grass area. Anything that we disturb, we'll put back to its original condition. We'll have silt sock along the wetland area and along the disturbed area towards the wetland wherever we go. We have to enter behind the wall on the east end, and then we'll take all the equipment blocks and everything we need in the stone from the east to the west, run along the bottom of the wall, place the new wall, and then reseed on the way out. We no plans to go in the wetland at all, and we'll make sure the silt sock's in place and maintained.
According to I just want to ask a question. You said you'd be right up against the wetlands, but on the set of plans, and maybe you're just oversimplifying, but on the set of plans, it shows you to be halfway between the existing wall and the wetland and the closest wetland point. It's not, you're not going very close to the wetland for the entirety of the 200 foot. There's just it's a finger-like projection. So my point is, I think, right, the wall is going to be placed how far behind the existing wall?
About 5 feet. The blocks that we're going, instead of using 2-foot blocks, now we're in 4-foot blocks because of needing the weight
Okay,
to support the
Yeah.
other wall. Yes, we are only going up against that one, well, almost 2 flags, but the rest of it will be straight across. So we need like 25 feet to go down the slope, across the grass area, and then back up the other slope. So it's only that small area that will be close to the wetland.
mm-hmm,
We won't be in it. We'll
And
make
so-
sure we maintain it.
all right, all right.
But
This
we'll
is kind of
limit-
a necessary evil given the state of the existing wall, correct?
Yeah, the top is starting to, we've got blocks in the bottom that are failing. The concrete is deteriorating and starting to give way. The top is leaning a little bit. And I believe most of that is from either snow plows or trucks hitting the fence and the guardrail.
Right,
The wall is really, the wall hasn't failed other than starting to crumble. So when we put the new wall up, it'll be filled in with 100% 3/4 stone between the two walls. So
All
there
right.
could be no dirt going, they'll all be clean water. And that'll put the strength of the new wall right to the existing wall. So even if the existing wall crumbles, it'll just stay in its place and won't go anywhere.
all right. And again, I think it's another note. You're working within existing previously disturbed area. When you look at the plans, there's a significant slope there, which is why you have the retaining wall.
That's right.
And so
slope-
you're just, yeah,
The slope is 100% grass right now and mowed. They
Right,
up
right.
mowing all of that to keep the vegetation down.
Mm-hmm. All right, seems pretty straightforward. Just condition it. I don't necessarily see it on the plan. It may be called out on the plan. I'm just not finding the note, but that I think there should be a condition on that we have the siltation control be placed at toe of slope at the limit of work area to prevent any.
We'll
All
make
right.
sure that that's in place first. This is the drawing from the wall people, not a civil engineer that
Right.
you normally see. So they do show
Right.
they do show a row of hay bales there. So we'll just make sure we put hay bales across the grass. We're going to use silt sock, but that'll all.
Yeah,
be-
I guess I guess my thought, because it does show the hay bales, but the hay bales extending, in my opinion, where I would say that if you're going to use hay bales, a silt sock or whatever it is, that you can turn it back up the slope, at your limited work, so that you're not, I don't think there's a need to. It would look like you got 100 feet extra on either side. So.
Yeah, where you see the arrows that say 2B and S1-0, that would be where we would cut the silt sock and go right up the slope at that location.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right. Does anybody from the board have any questions?
No questions.
Excellent. All right. That being said, again, the work is being done within a buffer zone to a BVW, but will not dredge, alter, or fill. The work is being done within a previously disturbed area, mowed grass, maintained area. It is a structural requirement. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination number 3, that while it is a work within the buffer zone, it will not dredge, alter, or fill.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you very much. Motion made and supported. There's no further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jim. Well, don't go anywhere.
No.
Item number 3, request for determination of applicability. This is the Tisdale Dam, 0 Mill Street. For those, that's the one that is closest to just upstream from the 3-arch bridge, right, Jim, there? And so the applicant is KR Rezendes, and the scope of work is to clear brush in the dam. Just for folks' information, the town is discussing and considering an opportunity to gain ownership, if you will, of the dam and the water infrastructure associated with the dam. Prior to the town wanting that done, they've asked that an assessment of the dam be done, inspection, and to have some minor improvements done prior to us taking ownership, or at least putting it or considering it. So if I'm not mistaken, this is in response to that. Is that not correct, Jim?
Well, yes and no. And I'm not sure exactly what the regs are, but the regs say that the dam must be inspected by an outside firm every so often.
Okay.
The time was coming due anyway, so we had the inspection done. And in the inspection, which was attached, I don't know how many people have it, but on page 14, it gives you what the minor repair recommendations are. So we thought that
Yes, I saw those.
by doing those recommendations would take care of the town in what they would have to do in the next 5 to 10 years. So and I think it's only been 6 or 7 years since Churchill and Banks had us in there removing some brush and doing other things that the engineer had said he thought needed to be done on the dam. 10 years ago, we were there to put that extra wall in, plus the riprap. What that did was bring the dam up to a 100-year flood area. So they do periodically go in and maintain this as part of the dam safety program. And pretty much what we're doing now is under the minor repairs, they're saying there's a few stones that have been dislodged. They're only small stones, so those will be reset, mortared back in, replaced, resealed stop logs. We've ordered all new stop logs. We'll pull those out, put those in. One of the steel beams has some rot to it. We'll fix that. And then on the bottom of the sluiceways, there's a couple areas where the concrete has started to erode. We'll fill and patch those areas. And Churchill and Bank has told us to do what we have to make it satisfactory to the town. And I think all of these items will make sure that we get the brush cleaned out of all of the sluiceways and around the top of the dam so that it doesn't break away any of the concrete. It's pretty much why they want the trees out of there, is the roots get into the concrete, they pop the concrete, and then it breaks away. So we'll get all that removed and cleared. It's all handwork. There isn't the only time we're going to bring a machine there is to get the stop logs out. But other than that, everything else is all handwork.
And Jim, when you say get the stop logs out, we're not talking about, and I had the privilege of going over there and getting a personal tour of it with your father. So I know the answer to this, but when you're removing those, it's simply attaching a chain of some sort and pulling them up, right? There's no excavation that goes on to remove these things, correct?
Right. We use like a hay hook, or sometimes we just take a chainsaw and cut it. But it's easier to take like a hay hook and you hook it on the beams and you hook a chain to the top and it picks them up.
Okay. And I know
we do need to take the water out of the upper side. So we'll take a plank or two out every day, lower the water on the upside. To be able to work in the sluiceways and replace the boards, we'll have to drop the water. So the water will go down about 5 feet until it hits the level of, on the back side of the wall is actually a concrete pad that was poured all the way across the stabilizer.
Right.
So we'll take it down to that elevation and take all the boards out, replace them, and then start to put them back. But we probably need 2 to 3 days in the bottom of the sluiceway to get the concrete repaired and fix what they wanted. So you're probably talking
a week's worth of work.
Once we can, it'll probably take me a week to get the water down and then a week to do the work, and then we'll put the logs back in.
All right. And so I'm wondering if it might be advisable to maybe just put up some signs or something that, and we can talk about that later. I think the town will probably do something just to let people know what's going on, so we don't get a bunch of, that regular dam maintenance is taking place and improvements to the dam, so that there's not a cause for concern that there's a hole in the dam downstream and we get phone calls, right? So
We can just put a sign on one side. I mean, the other side's owned by us, our family anyway, so it's private property, but on the side.
I was just thinking maybe something on the roadway that just so that, when people are driving up 79, they look down, they understand that there's not an emergency, there's no flood downstream. We're not getting frantic phone calls that, in fact, there is dam maintenance taking place in there. So, all right. Now, obviously, the debris that you cut, the trees and branches and stuff, those are all going to be removed out and taken off site, right? We're not.
Yeah, nothing will be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and we're not doing any dredging. We're not altering the stream bed at all. You're just taking some of those stones that might have fallen out or become dislodged or loosened over time. You're going to place back in there, correct?
Yeah, and those are only small. I mean, we can't.
Yep.
We're not going to be able to reach out there. And the big ones that were there have been there for hundreds of years. So.
I was going to say they've been there quite some time. Your father was telling me so. I think he said something. I remember hopping along them when he was a kid. So
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah, right. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
We're not taking any roots out either. The stump.
Yeah, that's the next
bottom,
one. That's right.
Will all be left in place. We'll cut them right above as close as we can, and let them go.
All right. And for those interested parties, you can find the GZA dam report and all on our website under our Conservation Commission filing too. So, if does anybody have any questions? Anybody general comments? Okay. If not, then there is no need for siltation control, given the fact that you're not disturbing anything like that. And there's no machinery down there. It's all handwork. So at the end of the day, I would entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination number 3, that the work will not, it's in the buffer zone, but will not dredge, alter, or fill that wetland.
Motion made.
I need that. Thank you.
Motion made.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made, supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. Okay, last item. We have a discussion on 40 Brayley Road. We have a request for a partial certificate of compliance. Again, that information is on our website. Finding it here. We do have the affidavit from the engineer of record. We have inspected the above referenced site and hereby certified that the residential home and ancillary work have been constructed in general compliance with the approved plans and the order conditions which you issued on March 4th, 2021. The only work that has not been completed this time is the stabilization of the grass within the entire limit of work or yard. On behalf of our client, Tony Report, we request that you issue a partial certificate of compliance. So that being said, I've done an on-site inspection, and then to his word as stated in the letter, that is it's minor grading, and then the final loam and seeding that's only outstanding. And as in a lot of instances, partial certificate of compliances are oftentimes required for a bank transactions. So given that this is only a partial request, and I've done an inspection, and I have no issue and take no exception. Does anybody have any questions on that? If not, I will entertain a motion that we issue a partial certificate of compliance.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. I need a second.
I'll second it. Oh,
All right, motion is made and supported. If there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Okay, does anybody else have any other business to properly come before the board? Okay, perfect. That being said, again, thank you, gentlemen, for your off night presence. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 13th. If you have any conflicts, please let us know sooner rather than later. Folks, thanks again, and I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
All right,
I'll second the motion.
motion's made and supported. There's no further discussion on the motion to adjourn. Hearing none, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Again, thank you, everybody. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
All righty.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks,
See you
Neil. Have a
guys.
good night.
Bye.
Yep, bye-bye.